IRL, and in my hands right now is the soundtrack of the summer, Room Under the Stairs. And with me right now is the artist behind the record, Zayn.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Tell
How
me,
are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. No one ever asked me how I'm doing. It's always like, good. All right, what's your order? Good. Okay, ready to move on.
Yeah, for sure. No, how are you?
I'm
having a
good.
day?
Thank you. I had a
Yeah.
great day. The
Nice
weather's
one.
nice. It's hot though.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Sun's finally out.
Finally out. Summer's here. We've
Yeah.
got some good music to listen to, which is great.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. No, Room Under the Stairs. Tell me how important your space is when you are creating.
I think space for all human beings, the surrounding area where they live is an incredibly important thing. I feel like it's very reflective of your inner mental state. The surroundings that you're living in, and I feel like that's why I live. Where I live, where there's a lot of space, a lot of room to breathe, think about things, ponder. Be a poet.
Yeah,
write songs.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So sonically, lyrically, vocally, this is a different side of you. Is that fair to say?
For sure, yeah, definitely.
On the one hand, it feels like a reinvention. On the other hand, it feels like a reintroduction. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you want listeners to take away from the record?
Yeah, that was, that's the intention behind art for me always. I don't ever want to feel comfortable in a space where I'm like, oh, this is something I've got in the bag, reference there from the song. But yeah, and it just came out, sorry. I cringed at myself. But yeah, I feel like it's important, to make sure that that's the intention always, that you're challenging yourself and
Right.
you're reaching new heights. So yeah, that was the intention
Okay,
behind
good.
this.
Well, that's what I got from it. So good. Well done.
Okay, nice one. Thank you.
One thing I love to do when an artist drops a new record is I listen to their first all the way through to the latest one. And I was listening to your discography now, which is crazy. You have 4 albums now. And one thing I noticed is vocally, and I mean this respectfully, vocally is your voice is so much more precise and like intentional. Am I picking up on that
No,
right?
for sure, 100%.
Okay.
That's something that I noticed myself, and I've actually said that, like even to my parents and stuff. I was having conversations with them, and my dad said the same thing. He was like, it finally feels like you're like really present, and you're there, and you're like taking control of the song rather than letting the song guide you. And I fully knew what he was saying, because you can hear that in some of my old stuff. I even mentioned it on Station Head. The songs were good. There was just a different level of conviction, behind the sentiment of the words and the lyrics, and really connecting with the emotion and the concept of what's going on,
Yeah.
So I'm glad you heard that. That was
Yeah.
definitely a process, and I feel like writing this kind of music where it came from a place of my own personal experiences helped me show and feel that conviction more.
Yeah, fantastic. A lot of us turned to TikTok during the pandemic for like creation and various art forms and like to connect with one another. And a lot of artists I've talked to on this station have said that it impacted them in some way when they're creating. So I know you were creating this album during that time as well, correct?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
How did it impact you, if at all?
I'm the type of person that's not really about noise, social platforms, all that stuff. I don't really use my phone very often. Like,
Lucky.
I'm not into it. Like, so I don't think it had a direct correlation on what I was doing. I feel like just generally I like to be out of the loop like that. I like to be the outsider, so whatever was going on, I wasn't familiar.
Lucky you.
But yeah, I just wanted to make a record, like I said before, that just like pushed me and gave me a new place to kind of play.
Is there a part of an album making that you enjoy the most? What part of the album making process do you enjoy the most, I guess?
I think I enjoyed the studio the most, I enjoyed the relaxed environment of it, and I can, take it at my own pace. It's my own world. I control it. There's not many things, in on this planet that we can control. So in the places we can get it, it's nice to feel that. And yeah, it never feels like work for me in the studio. I just feel like I'm always having fun.
Good. Now, you've got some dedicated fans, millions all around the world. And I see them commenting on your TikToks, and they're making music with your TikTok, with your songs on TikTok as well. What do you want to say to your fans who've been with you for over a decade now?
I think the main thing, that I said to them, at Shepherd's Bush and even the signings that we've been doing this week is just I'm incredibly grateful for their love and support and their patience, I haven't always, followed through with everything I've said I'm going to do. I've said soon a lot and then not really turned up. So
not you ghosting the fans.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's and the truth of it is, like, that's not, any shade or disrespect to them. That was some shit I had to deal with myself, you know? So I'm incredibly grateful for their love and support, and I genuinely mean that. I can't put it in, in any other words. Without them, I wouldn't be here today, you know? I wouldn't be sat here having this interview with you. I'd be old news, you know what I mean?
Right. I know you've done a lot of interviews this week. What's something that you haven't discussed this week?
This week, something I haven't discussed.
I've
like discussed a lot this
have
week.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you get all the same questions all the time. But what's something that you're like, no one ever asked me about this? I want to talk about this thing or this part.
I think with this rollout in general, it's been a different process. Like I feel like there is so much to talk about, and I feel like I've been able to have really good conversations with interviewers and feel relaxed, and it feels like I'm just having a conversation. Don't feel like it's premeditated, pre-thought out or anything, just chill. So I think there's nothing that people have missed or I've been like, oh, they could have asked me about this, you know. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Okay, we're doing a good job.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Okay, good. When you think about the record and then performing it live, do you think about that when you're writing a song or singing a song in the studio, how it's going to translate to a live set?
Not always, but with this record in particular, that was the intent, and it always felt like it was going to feel like it fit in a live space, just because of, using the live instruments and having this more like less top 40 charts kind of vibe, you know what I mean? It was always more indie, a bit more alternative. So I felt like it was always going to fit in that space, and I could hear it straight from the first record. I did Alienated first, and I was like, this is going to be a good song on stage, and it feels that way when I perform it. It feels nice.
And it kind of set the tone for the rest of the record. Is that fair to say?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. What's that like when you have an idea that you're like, oh, this doesn't really fit the vibe? Do you like bank that idea for another record?
For sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you don't lose it. Okay.
Happens,
How do you do that? Like, I want to know exactly what your process is. Do you voice memo it yourself? Okay,
yeah,
save this for later.
They do it. Like, I go in the studio, like I said, it's relaxed. So it's a relaxed environment. It's not overthought. Just go in there and have fun. So on that day, really depending on how I'm feeling, like I could write something that doesn't fit into that pocket at all. And that's why it's good to, like you said, bank it, keep it for something else. And, your future endeavors or whatever, you've got some other stuff there that you can pull from and be like, oh, I like this thing that I did on this day when I was inspired. We'll build something around this.
Right.
And it's always good to have things to pull from.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Going back to your fans a little bit, how have you balanced as an artist your growth, your creative expression, what you want to say, where you are in life, but what your fans kind of know and love about you? How are you reconciling what the fans want, but what you want?
I think the key to that is just always be honest, You can never find this like utopian existence of balance, It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. There's not, 100% happiness all the time. So I think you just have to be honest, and understand that human beings respect honesty, and they have a way deeper level of understanding if you're honest rather than if you're shrouded in, in fake nonsense.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Lastly, tell us what's on deck the rest of the year.
Right now it's gonna be a bit chill, I think, for a second.
Get some time off this summer.
Get back into rehearsals and hopefully get a tour together. And maybe, more music, who knows?
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming by TikTok Radio.
Thank you very much
Good
for
to see
having
you.
me.